There is a crow outside your house right now that knows your face. Not your car, not your house, not the general shape of a human being near a food source. Your face, specifically, individually, the way another person knows your face. And here is what most people never find out. That crow has been building a file on you. Every single time you have stepped outside. Every time you walked to your car, it was watching, it was remembering, and it was deciding something about you. But here is the question nobody asks. What exactly has it decided? And what is it doing with that information right now? Stay with me, because what researchers discovered when they actually tested this is something that most people find genuinely difficult to believe. Most people assume that when an animal recognizes something, it is doing a rough pattern match. That is not what crows are doing when they look at you. In 2008, researchers in Seattle ran an experiment that most people in the bird world still talk about. Researchers wore specific masks, a caveman mask designated as the threatening face, while trapping and banding crows. Then they waited and walked the same routes, wearing the masks. The crows remembered, not just 4 days, not just 4 weeks, for years. Crows that had never personally been trapped. Crows that were not even alive when the original study happened. The memory had been passed down. Parent crows had taught their offspring which face meant danger. You have a reputation. You just did not know it was being kept. A crow does not keep what it knows to itself. Crows communicate specific information about specific individuals across large groups and across time. Young crows began displaying the same avoidance behavior toward that person as adults who had, because they had learned from watching. The crow on your fence this morning may know things about you that it learned from a crow that is no longer alive. Your history with the local crows is older than most of the crows currently living it. Crows remember kindness with the same precision they remember threat. The family in Seattle began deliberately feeding their local crows, and within a season, the birds were leaving objects at the feeding location. A button, a piece of glass, a bottle cap. The researchers called it reciprocal gift giving. Your yard is inside a crow information network right now. The question is only what category you have been filed under. Now, here's the part I promised you. The part I have not been able to stop thinking about. Individual crows in suburban areas were not just remembering and responding to specific humans. They were anticipating them. Crows were observed repositioning themselves, calling to each other in distinct patterns, and orienting toward locations where a specific known human would appear before that human appeared. They were not reacting to the person. They were predicting the person. The crow in your yard has a mental simulation of you. It runs that simulation to predict what you are going to do before you do it. You are not just a face in a database. You are a running simulation inside a crow's mind. The answer depends on one thing: what the crow has decided you are. The first is threat. Alarm calls specifically associated with your presence. Dive bombing behavior. In documented cases, crows have maintained threat classification of specific individuals for over 15 years. The second is neutral. Most humans fall here. You are part of the background. It means you passed. You were assessed and found harmless. In the crow's risk model, that is not nothing. The third category is the one that changes things. Trust. They follow you, not aggressively, quietly, moving from perch to maintain proximity to you specifically. They bring objects to your location, intentionally, specifically, at the location associated with the person they have come to trust. There are recorded instances of crows alerting specific trusted humans to the presence of other threats in the area. A crow that trusts you will tell you when something is wrong. It is trying to warn you. Whether you are listening or not, you have been living inside a crow surveillance network your entire life without knowing it. Every neighborhood you have ever lived in, every yard you have ever had, you were being observed. You were being filed. You were being discussed in a language you cannot hear. And somewhere in your local crow population right now, there is a file with your name on it. What does that file say? Because here is the thing. You can change it. Crows update their classifications. Positive consistent behavior over time can shift a neutral classification toward trust. If you spend the next few months being calm, consistent, and generous near the crows in your yard, you are building something, not just a habit, a relationship, one that will outlast individual birds, one that will be passed to the next generation of crows in your area. The crow outside your house right now has already decided something about you. Everything that happens next depends on what you do with that information. There is a moment that happens sometimes if you have been patient and consistent and lucky when a crow lands closer than it should. When it looks at you with that direct, deliberate, one-eyed focus, that means it is actually reading you. Because you know, and it knows that the recognition is mutual. It knows your face. It knows your routine. It has been watching you for longer than you have been watching it. The only question that remains is what it has concluded, and whether you are paying enough attention to find out. Before I go, has a crow ever done something near you that felt like more than coincidence? Followed you somewhere it had no reason to follow? Left something near your door? Looked at you in a way that made you feel actually seen? Tell me in the comments exactly what happened, where you were, what the crow did. If this video changed the way you think about the birds watching you right now, share it. Subscribe if you haven't, because what we cover at Wild Bird Mind will keep changing the way you see the world just outside your door. I'll see you in the next one.